Russia versus NATO is the next major confrontation already being mapped out. New US intelligence assessments reportedly warn that Vladimir Putin could test NATO's resolve with a limited attack on an alliance member within the next few years. The warning is explosive, but it is not saying Russia has decided to invade NATO. Instead, US officials are reportedly examining how, why, where, and when Moscow could potentially challenge the alliance. So how could Putin test NATO? The reported scenarios range from cyberattacks and sabotage to the deployment of unmarked armed groups and, in the most extreme scenario, a limited ground incursion into NATO territory. US intelligence reportedly believes the window for such action could stretch from this autumn through 2029, with the possibility of a ground attack described as low but potentially growing over time. And why would Russia risk triggering a confrontation with the world's most powerful military alliance? According to the reported assessment, the objective may not be territorial conquest. US officials reportedly believe Putin could seek to split NATO apart, testing whether the alliance would actually respond collectively to a limited attack. A carefully calibrated strike could therefore become a test of NATO's unity, its willingness to invoke its collective defense commitments, and whether its members would stand together or hesitate. But why is Washington reportedly becoming more concerned now? US officials say their assessment has changed from earlier judgments that Putin would avoid provoking NATO while Russia remained locked in the Ukraine war. The reported shift comes as Ukrainian strikes increasingly damage Russian military and energy infrastructure, while Moscow continues to make costly and limited gains on the battlefield. The assessment reportedly warns that a Putin under greater pressure could become more dangerous, especially if the Kremlin feels increasingly cornered. And the Baltics are already sounding the alarm. Lithuania says it is examining the possibility that Russia could use Ukrainian-made drones to stage provocations in the region, potentially creating a false flag incident that could trigger a wider NATO crisis. Lithuania has strengthened protection around critical infrastructure and says its military and security agencies are monitoring the situation. But Vilnius has also stressed that there is currently no singular direct threat against the country. And there is another twist: America's own weapons stocks. The reported US intelligence warning comes as Washington faces shortages of some critical munitions, including long-range precision missiles, tactical missile systems, and Stinger air defense missiles, following weapon supplies to Ukraine and US military operations against Iran. So the nightmare scenario is clear. Russia could potentially test NATO at a moment when the alliance is already under pressure. The big question now, if Putin does make that move, will NATO stand united, or will Moscow succeed in exposing a crack in the alliance?